He was very well liked in the community, just an all-around good guy.
He began to express his loneliness to me, and he said he had began talking to some people online.
A beloved widower seeking company ends up dead.
He was found to have overdosed on a sleeping medication.
He just put his head in his hands and cried, saying he was so stupid.
Investigators unravel a web of deceit. Did it seem possible to you that he may have mistakenly taken too much?
She said, "You think I did this?" I said, "Well, yeah."
Hi, I'm Nancy O'Dell. Today's Crime Exposé brings us to Cordell, Oklahoma, 99 miles west of Oklahoma City. The small town with a population just shy of 3,000 is known as the Friendly City, but it would soon make headlines for a terrible crime. It all started on social media and ended with the heartbreaking murder of a beloved local man. Investigators would follow a twisted trail of lies before finding a predator hiding in plain sight. It was just a few days after Thanksgiving, in the midst of an epic ice storm in Cordell, Oklahoma, when co-workers and friends of 59-year-old Michael Beach became concerned.
We experienced a pretty severe ice storm here in Cordell. Severe enough it knocked the power out across town. There was no power and there was very limited cell phone service.
Kristen Dowell went to check on her close friend Michael, who had recently lost his wife, and she noticed that no one appeared to be home.
The vehicle was not there and their chain link fence gate was locked. So my first thought was, well, because we didn't have power, he doesn't have a generator, maybe he went to a hotel.
But her concern grew when she learned the electric company where Michael had worked for more than 20 years had not heard from him either.
He did not show up for work.
When you heard that, what was running through your mind?
Something's the matter, something's not right. Mike was a dedicated employee. It would never just not show up for work.
Kristen requested a welfare check.
I actually went to the police station and I asked for someone to go with me down to Mike's house and to please check on him. I had tried to call his cell phone, it went straight to voicemail.
Michael had given Kristen a spare key to his home after his wife's passing, and she was able to unlock the front door.
The officer went before me, and the first thing I noticed was the bedroom door was shut, and the bedroom door was never shut. And at that point, he cracked open the door and there was no electricity, so he shined his flashlight in there and he asked me to step outside. I had a feeling that something wasn't right.
The bedroom was in a little bit of disarray, and then Michael Beach's body was lying in the floor.
Police knew right away they had walked into a crime scene.
We could see an injury to his abdomen. He appeared to have at least 2 bullet wounds. One was to his lower chest and the other to his abdomen.
Kristen's heart sank when the police officer stepped outside.
He had a roll of the caution tape in his hand that he had gotten out of his vehicle, and he asked me who the next of kin was. And I told him it was me, and he said, "I'm sorry to tell you, but Mike is deceased."
She felt completely powerless.
I didn't want to leave his house. I wanted to see him myself, but I was not allowed to. And the OSBI showed up, the sheriff's department showed up, the Cordell PD was there already.
Michael's car was not in the driveway.
As soon as we learned that his Tahoe was missing, we put out a bolo for that.
And his cell phone was missing.
When we were pinging his cell phone, it appeared that his cell phone was turned off.
There was no sign of forced entry into the small one-bedroom home, but yet the struggle in the bedroom appeared to have been a robbery gone wrong.
Everything was in disarray just in the bedroom itself. It didn't look like anything else in the house had been touched. So it seemed to have been staged to look like that, but we never really believed that that's what it was.
Police canvassed the neighborhood, hoping to find someone who had seen or heard anything suspicious.
His neighbor said that he had seen a strange vehicle and a strange man at Mike's house over the weekend.
There were two different cars that the neighbors had said they seen. One was just a dark four-door car, and the other was the blue Toyota Celica that they had seen on more than one occasion at Michael Beach's house.
But there were few viable leads.
Initially, there wasn't very much. Of course, we had the body itself, but really, other than witness statements, that's about all we had initially.
It wasn't until police started interviewing Michael's friends that they learned he had a girlfriend named Kate.
We initially began a search for her. We had no idea what had happened to her, where she was.
He began to express his loneliness to me, and he said he had began talking to some people online.
The cold-blooded murder of 59-year-old Michael Beach left investigators stumped.
He was so compassionate. He cared about others. I'm really not sure there was a person that didn't like him.
Investigators couldn't find anyone who wished him harm. While he didn't have any children of his own, he and his wife were surrounded by many who adored him.
He loved visiting with people.
Kristen Dowell and her family have become especially close to Michael over the years.
We considered Mike and Rita just another set of grandparents for our kids. They're very special people.
When Michael's wife Rita passed away, the loss was unbearable.
It took a huge toll. Rita passed away while she was out of state visiting her family, and they would have been celebrating their 40th wedding anniversary, and they were always together. They were inseparable, and it just devastated him that Rita had passed away.
While Michael had the support of his friends and the community, he confided in Kristen that he missed having a constant companion.
He began to express his loneliness to me, and he said he had began talking to some people online.
In June of the following year, he told her there was a woman he wanted her to meet.
He had met someone online that he'd been talking to for a little bit, and this person would be moving into his home. And so I asked her name, where she was from, what she did for a living, if she had kids. And at that point, he told me her name was Kate.
Michael had seen her post on Craigslist.
I believe that she had posted an ad saying that she would come in and clean and cook, things like that.
She had a son, and she was a former teacher. And I asked when she would be moving in, and he told me he was going to get her that next weekend.
According to neighbors, 44-year-old Kate Hicks became a steady fixture in Michael's life. Her absence heightened the concern of Michael's loved ones and investigators.
One of the first things that we did was we reached out to AT&T and started pinging both his cell phone and Hicks's cell phones. It appeared that his cell phone was turned off. Now, as far as Hicks's cell phone, we saw it pinging towers in Oklahoma City.
So at this point in the investigation, what theories did you have?
We really didn't have any. We were concerned that she could be a victim herself.
Everyone who knew Michael was wondering the same thing.
Where is his vehicle and where is Kate?
But their concern was not for her safety.
They felt like she was exploiting him for money.
He just put his head in his hands and cried, saying he was so stupid.
Those who knew Michael Beach well were wondering where his live-in girlfriend Kate Hicks had gone.
Now, according to witnesses that we talked to, it was more about a financial relationship for her.
But Beach was smitten with Hicks.
She was all about the money.
Michael Beach wasn't wealthy, but he opened his home to her and his wallet.
He had put credit cards in her name. He had placed her name on his will, on his life insurance, on his bank accounts.
A few months later, he wound up in the hospital. Kristen had been called at work about Michael's hospitalization and rushed to see him.
When I walked in and Kate was standing there, I asked what was going on. She had told me he had taken too much of his medication.
Did it seem possible to you that he may have mistakenly taken too much?
First of all, taking too much of his medication did not seem like it'd be possible to me because he always had it separated out by day.
When Michael came to, he said the last thing he recalled was having something to drink.
He had had a milkshake that Kate had made him, and he thought it was good, but he thought it tasted gritty.
The medical test results stunned everyone.
He was found to have overdosed on a sleeping medication.
Kate gave Kristen an explanation for Beach's alleged overdose.
He felt guilty being happy with Rita being gone and him moving on, and he was trying to take his own life.
But the story made no sense to Kristen.
And so I asked him, Mike, did you take too much medication on your own with the intent of taking your own life? And he looked me straight in the eyes and said, Kristen, I would never do that.
That evening, Kristen began researching.
I went home and I just started searching the internet to find anything I could find about this lady.
So did you find anything about her?
That she was a teacher at a school here in Oklahoma, and she was involved in a pretty big embezzlement scheme.
Her full name was Kathryn Lynn Hicks. Kristen confronted Michael at work with what she'd learned.
We sat at a table in the office and I told him all of the information that I had discovered. He just put his head in his hands and cried, saying he was so stupid. And I told him, no, you're not. You are a victim right now. You are not stupid.
Kristen was confident he took the right steps to protect himself.
He had changed his beneficiary on his life insurance and his retirement to Kate, and he wanted to get that changed. He also said he wanted her out of his house.
That same day, he asked Kate to leave, and she did.
It was actually a friend of his that had them come up and pick her up and take her back to Lawton.
Kristen was stunned when months later, he asked Kate to move in again.
He wanted a companion, and at this point, I don't know that he 100% believed she had poisoned him.
Investigators finally tracked down Hicks in Oklahoma City.
We were able to establish an address where we thought she might be.
While investigators planned their next move, Kristen began receiving disturbing text from Hicks.
I pulled my cell phone out of my purse and it said I had a text message from Kate. It was describing what appeared to be a kidnapping.
Hicks described being in a car with some strange men.
It made it seem like she was kidnapped in the text message, but she sent another text message saying that that was a lie and that she had found Mike's body, panicked, and left.
Investigators were already in Oklahoma City when they saw the bizarre texts.
Right around the time that I got there, she actually showed up driving this blue Toyota Celica. And of course, witnesses had seen this blue Toyota Celica at Beach's house.
Agent Sanders seized the opportunity to interview Hicks and noted she couldn't keep her story straight.
She told me at least 3 different stories.
The first version had her driving to Cordell to check on him after the ice storm.
Well, she tried calling him, tried texting him, and he never answered.
She then claimed to drive his Tahoe to an area with better cell phone reception.
And I went to where my phone got power again because there was no service on my phone. So I went out to the edge of town, and it was somewhere in between Clinton and Cordell. The power came back on it, and I was sending him messages saying, you know, I'm at your house. And it was at that point when I went back to the house that time that I found Mike.
She goes in the house, then she finds the body.
Hicks said she considered getting police help, but then thought otherwise due to her criminal record.
Version 2 is that when she got to the house, she walked inside, she was confronted by 2 men who proceeded to rape her.
And where were the men?
They were over in the living room. I don't know what they were doing. It all happened at once.
And so we were talking about why it was that you didn't tell me that to begin with.
Just one more humiliating factor to add into everything else.
Well, I mean, being a victim is not necessarily humiliating.
I don't want to be a victim.
She said after they left, she leaves. That was about an hour into the interview before she told me that story.
Hicks' final version of events was that she left Beach's home on Friday after Thanksgiving, and she returned on Sunday to find him dead. She said she did not contact police because she knew she would be suspected of committing the crime.
I don't know what else to say. That is what happened. I wouldn't have hurt Mike. I may have hurt Mike's feelings. I may have hurt his heart, but I never would have hurt him physically. Never.
A search of the car that Hicks was driving turned up more evidence.
We had found a black holster for a pistol inside a jacket that was behind the seat.
The murder weapon had been a 9mm handgun.
And so I decided that I had enough probable cause to arrest her.
So what was her reaction to being arrested for murder?
She was really unemotional through the whole thing.
Hicks never showed remorse or acknowledged her role in the crime.
I think I could have sat with her for days, and I don't think she would have ever confessed.
Investigators eventually found the murder weapon.
We didn't find the gun until a few days later. We do ballistics, and it matches the bullets that was taken from Beach's body.
Kathryn Hicks had her day in court 2 years after Michael Beach's death. It was an emotional trial for his friends and loved ones. What was the trial like for you?
Hard to face her, to see her sitting there and showing no remorse for what she had done.
Kristen made sure the jurors knew how much Michael meant to those whose lives he touched.
He was very trusting of people, and ultimately, that's what cost him his life.
44-year-old Kathryn Lynn Hicks pled not guilty to first-degree murder. At trial, she said she loved Michael Beach and would never kill him, but jurors were unmoved by her words. She was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And now, it's time for today's Safety Spotlight. New relationships can be exciting, especially after heartache and loss, but it's always best to proceed with caution. To help minimize risk and maximize your safety, experts recommend taking new romantic relationships slowly and keeping finances separate. Limit the amount of financial information you share with a new romantic partner and avoid adding them to wills, bank accounts, or life insurance policies. Run a background check on romantic prospects and steer clear of those who have a criminal history, like violence or fraud, as you could become their next victim. And if you have reason to believe your partner intends to harm you, call the police or the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE. I'm Nancy O'Dell. For everyone here at Crime Exposé, please join us next time and stay safe.